Okay, people, welcome back to Help Me Please. This is our second go around. It is March, and that's my birthday month. No, I'm not afraid of getting older. I am exactly the age I need to be because I'm exactly the age I am. Today, we're going to tell the truth. Okay, Jillian is 22. Jillian wants to know, she wants to tell me something first. I want to stop feeling bad about myself. I know I'm eccentric and different, and I sometimes feel like other people spectate my life. The people close to me love the things about me that also sometimes make me feel embarrassed or self-conscious. How do I drop my preoccupation about being different from other people? Okay, so this is a great question. When I was in college at Dartmouth, that was a place where I felt very different, but very celebrated for who I was. But it felt like people were watching me all the time. So I feel like I totally get it. And what was hard about it, and I don't know if you can relate, Jillian, was that it felt like they were like, be yourself, like, I like you, but it took a lot of energy to like actively be me. So I found it very draining. I wasn't necessarily self-conscious. And to that, here's what I'd say about being self-conscious about what makes you unique. My friend Matt, he also produces this podcast, says that when you are yourself, you are accelerating your life. And I think what he means is that the people who are going to want to be around you and who you want to be around when you are actually yourself are the people that you're going to eventually end up with anyway, because you can't not be yourself. It's going to seep out of you like a poem, like I was going to say sweat. And that is good. So accelerating your life is good. So tell yourself that by being yourself, you're accelerating your life and you're going to find the people you're meant to be around. And if the things that people find unique about you are things that bother you, I guess I would just take a moment and ask yourself, does it really bother you that those things are true about you, or does it bother you that you're different? If you're uncomfortable standing out, then I think you can either try to find communities where you fit in, or you can spend more time alone. Sometimes when I'm in my like weirdest place where I don't really want to be pointed at for the things that I'm doing that are very uniquely me, I just go into a room where there's nobody but my animals and I feel a lot better. And if you don't like the parts about yourself that you're saying make you stand out, we are malleable creatures. So if you can slow down and notice the parts about yourself, like let's just say you have a cute little speech pattern. I have a lot of those, and you really don't want it anymore. You've got to practice it, and you can be whoever you want to be. But I think chances are you do love those parts about yourself. If you hate a part of yourself that you can't change, I think you should think about yourself from the vantage point of 5 years from now, looking back at yourself, or maybe if 5 years isn't far enough, 50 years, and I bet you that part about yourself is going to be so much cuter, so much more adorable, and I bet you will love it so much more than you do now. And I'm being dead ass serious. Like, there are parts about myself that I wanted to change that I'm now thankful I didn't change, and there are parts about myself that I did change that I wish I never changed. So I hope you just give it some time, be Grandma Jillian looking at little Jillian, and she's adorable. Moving right along, we got Cassidy from Durham, North Carolina asking, where do you find your inspiration? Okay, good question. It depends on what you're doing, in my opinion. I understand you can find inspiration anywhere, but let's get specific. When I'm writing, I look to other books, but I don't read them like cover to cover. I will like open a random book that I love and read a passage, and part of it is because I want to get out of like the jargon of my daily language. So if I read book speak, it gets me out of like conversation speak. So I would say you can look to the same medium. I would say the best places to find inspiration are the places where people were the most thoughtful with their work. So if someone made a movie and they spent time and they made every decision, I think you will find inspiration in just witnessing somebody having made all those decisions, even if it's not your taste. You can appreciate something about it, and you might find your own taste by looking at something that demonstrates somebody else's taste. Also, looking at something that required no thought at all, like nature, is another place to find inspiration. So a thing that is totally randomly existing beautifully, I guess you could say nature is not random, but it appears to us, it comes to us randomly, and a human didn't make it. So I think nature and art are the places to find inspiration. Inspiration is a catalyst for your own ideas. It's a catalyst for you to have original thought. What you can't probably get inspired by is nothing. You can get inspired by anything. You just have to decide to really focus on it and just really, because I was going to say, you can't get inspired by something you've seen before, like repetitive, like looking at your hands over and over again. But you can, because if you look at your hands, you could be like, if I stare long enough, my hands start to look like an elephant, and then I'm inspired. You can be inspired by anything. That's it. The human decisions are inspiring. Nature is inspiring, and that's all we have. We got a lot of human decisions out there. Outfits, what someone's wearing, they decided, movies, and nature. And that's all there is in the world, right? What else is there? The problem you're having is that maybe you're not feeling as inspired, or you don't feel this like leaping lurch to do something. And maybe we actually really need to address that creating something is also a discipline. So you getting inspired also requires you deciding to show up with or without the kick in the booty that you think inspiration might be. So create a space for yourself to do whatever it is you are trying to do when you are inspired, even if you don't know what will inspire you. If you feel uninspired, you might just be tired. That's when I feel the least inspired, when I'm sleepy. Or you might be hungry or thirsty. If you don't have your basics covered, it's hard to be inspired. If you're stressed, it's hard to be inspired because there's a higher need. You're not surviving. You can't, your car's broken. Like if you need something in the world that is a higher need than what you're trying to be inspired to do, you might need to take care of that first. Okay. Anna. Oh my gosh, I love this question. Okay, Anna, who from your Instagram profile looks to be an awesome dancer, is asking, how do you set reasonable goals? And is there any difference between art and athletics? Okay, 2 different questions we got here. Let's start with the goals. How do you set reasonable goals? Well, don't. You should set really unreasonable goals, because I'm laughing, but I'm dead ass. Like, you should set goals that are unreasonable, because reason never got anybody anywhere. So set unreasonable goals, but set reasonable timelines. That's my response to you, Anna. It seems like you have big dreams. I've seen your Instagram profile. You are miraculous. You're amazing. You move in a way that I can't move. So set an unreasonable goal and then give yourself a beautifully reasonable timeline to go and chase that goal. I think actually the real problem is people don't give themselves enough time, and they think something should happen sooner than it should. Things always take longer than you think. So instead of setting a more reasonable goal, set a more reasonable timeline, and then add 3 months or 3 years, depending. And if you really need to accomplish a goal, like I'm feeling that you might be in one of those situations where you're like, I need a win. So if you need a win and you need to accomplish something, then make your reasonable goals about like, I was going to say like living a decent life. Like make your reasonable goals like I will cook dinner every night for myself, or I will say go out to coffee this one time and then say no to going out to coffee if you're trying to save money, right? Or whatever. So do you get what I'm saying? I'm saying make your reasonable goals the ones that make you a stand-up adult if you're trying to grow up. And then make your unreasonable goals the ones that tickle you inside and get you excited and feel too unreasonable to even think about. And then think about them while you're cooking your dinner every night, because now you cook 5 days a week. Oh, and then you asked, what is the difference between art and athletics? I remember when I used to think like that. It doesn't matter, to be honest. athletics, the ones that I do, it's very easy to measure where you stand. And in art, it is very difficult to objectively measure where you stand. That seems to be a major difference between art and athletics. But there's not that many other differences. And the more you can see similarities between the two, the better you're going to do in both, right? The more you see sport, which seems so rigid and fixed, as a more artistic form where expression and character and can play in your favor of that objective result, the better you're going to be and the scarier you're going to be. If you're an athlete on a start line, you're looking like a freak, you're going to scare some people and you're going to maybe win. And then if you are an artist who brings the athletic mindset of you win some, you lose some, you're going to have a lot of longevity over there, and you're going to be having more fun in things that are hard, because sports are always expected to be hard. Sports are this, and art people think is going to be this free, no conflict, but there's conflict, but it's fun if you think about it like a sport. I hope that helps. Here's what I'm going to do right now, guys. So I felt that I was over inundated by like input from the world, friends, everything recently, and I felt like I was getting in these patterns of never like being alone and having conversations with myself and knowing that I had a lot of the answers and the ability to take myself places all by myself. So I stopped being in the patterns of like reporting to people that I normally report to, and that bothered some people, but I just blamed myself. I said I needed alone time. And then answers just started coming. And then things started to get really interesting and fun. And then I didn't sit in one of my moods for more than approximately 23 minutes. And then traffic got more fun because I was just hanging out by myself, listening to my music. And then I felt more present when I was with those people because I didn't need anything. This was another episode of Help Me Please. I'm Alexi Pappas, and I'll see you in a month. Please send in your questions, and I'll answer them to the height of my intelligence, which is still limited because I have many more years to live. If you want to send in your question and have me answer it, please send in your question, your name, and your location, and your age if you're comfortable, to helpmeplease.mentorbuffet@gmail.com. That's helpmeplease.mentorbuffet@gmail.com. And a really kind Anon will respond to you with something cute. See you next time.